A memory saved. There are times I've had thoughts swirling through my mind like leaves blowing in a fall windstorm. Tidbits of happenings from my life, flashing like colors and shapes in a kaleidoscope. To slow this down, I see each moment for what it is. I treat them like a puzzle. I dump the jumble of pieces on a table, turn each piece right side up. Piece by piece, I fit them together, and the puzzle becomes a beautiful picture. I start writing, taking one tidbit at a time, and carefully assemble them. They become a clear picture with depth and color that brings back the feeling I had when I was there. Lest I grasp each fleeting bit, it will be like the leaves blowing in the wind, piling against the fence in the corner of the yard to rot and deteriorate like compost and be lost forever. I sort, I write, I discover a story. I record the story on paper. It is now a memory preserved in prose. Bernie. I'm Bernie Stremlau. This is one of two fictions I have written. Haying Time. Farmer Brown wears baggy bib overalls. Farmer Brown puts loose hay into the barn. He sticks the 4-tined hay fork, 1 tine each corner. He yells to the horse, "Giddy up, go ahead." When the fork of hay is pulled up into the barn, the mowers inside yell, "Whoa!" The horse stops pulling. But no one pulls the trip rope to drop the hay in the haymow. The mowers, confused, go out to see where is Farmer Brown. Where might he be? He didn't trip the fork. Farmer Brown cannot be found. They trip the hay fork that's in the barn, searching under and around the hay rack behind the barn, bewildered, keeping calling his name. Finally, they vaguely hear Farmer Brown from inside the barn, "I'm here, I'm here." He stuck 1 tine through a baggy pant leg, went into the barn upside down with the hay. When it was tripped, he was finally loosed, though totally buried in hay. His hands alone, he digs and digs, finally finds air and light, then realizes he is okay. Now hears his name called in fright. In the end, Farmer Brown is left with a frown. The two who were in are now out, and he who was out is now in. The whole scene has flipped, and his baggy pant leg shows one big long rip. The end. Bernie. Dance. Dance, 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 dance away your cares, dance away the night. Coordinate those feet with your hips. Your lady so sweet you may never want to quit. Dance, 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 dance away your cares, dance away the night. It's a square dance. Allemande left, allemande right, do-si-do. Circle left, step right through. Promenade, swing. Dance, 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 dance away your cares, dance away the night. You take her hand, gently lead, squeeze her waist on your way to place. In her rhythm, you feel her grace. Dance, 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 dance away your cares, dance away the night. Dance, dance, you dance on and on, till not another breath to take. Finally, 'tis time the punch to taste. The orchestra leaves, the dance hall darkens. Arm in arm, it's skip to the car. You stop, twirl, open her door, then bow. She, with a curtsy and a spin, glides gracefully in. At good night, you smile, admit, and say, "We did it. Somehow we danced the night away." Dance, dance, dance. Bernie. Dreamers, lovers, dreamers, and me. How long can one live a dream or a fantasy? That fact I do not know, but surely there was an existing period in my life when losing Evelyn my great and losing her deep love, I was alone to dream of something or one sent from above to come my way and save my sanity, even if it be a fantasy. Dream for someone and later dream for something, my little road track motorhome. We know not how long we get to dream a dream, but I am thankful I did not reject the gift when it came, for it was, through and through, a real dream come true. Bernie. Fray. I am a country boy. I've seen frayed clothing. I've worn frayed clothing. Then I wore patched clothing. It seems this was all determined by my mother's point of view of what was acceptable. Frayed or worn through was not acceptable, but patched clothing was. And I wore pants that had worn through and were now patched. Shirts with elbows worn out were now okay because they had a patch on the elbow. Being patched seemed to say you were not in rags. You may not be rich, but you were clean and cared for. It was hard for me not to comment or even deride when fashion came for jeans to be bought with ready-made frays. That is one of the hardest trends for me to accept in my old age. Now you must be considered poor if you buy and wear clothes that are not pre-frayed. Wait a minute, I hear this rumble coming up under the ground. I see it now. The whole generation that came before me are turning over in their graves. Little black square dot. It was an ordinary day, Tuesday, I believe. It was in the dining room at Walnut Grove at lunchtime. Nothing new, good or bad, or special, happening that day to be any reason for something so simple and insignificant should take place in a manner that I should recognize it, even happening. I was sitting at table with several old friends from Walnut Grove, and one, more recently, new friend at the Grove. Doris, a new friend. Can one ever have too many friends? Here's an example I learned from that new friend that day, something I'd been going through my life not knowing until now, well into my 90th year of being alive. I remember I had soup with lunch that day, and we had crackers available on the buffet line, as we always do. The 2 crackers in a cellophane package kind. Doris had a package in her hand, and what prompted her, I do not know, but she turned it so the little black square dot on one edge was on the upper edge. And she explained that the edge it is on is the side you take one corner and tear it open to the other corner very easily. She reached up and tore this package open on that side from one end to the other with ease, just as she explained. Voila! I had seen the little black square dot in the past, but did not ever know in what respect it was to be used. Voila! A new friend and new knowledge, new helpful information. We never know when, where, or how we may learn something new. This is how and when I found out about the little black square dot on the cracker package. Bernie. When I found out about reproduction, I didn't know the word, nor did my mother say it, but that is what it was, and that is when I found out where babies come from. My years of life were 6 when older sister Pauline married. Going to or from town, being 1 mile off her route, many times would stop to see her mother at home. After several months of marriage, as she left our house one day, going down the back porch steps, I said to her, in a kidding way, "You're getting fat." As Pauline drove out our yard, it was then my mother, with kindness toward both, my sister and to me, bid me sit a while by her knee, on the step to the back door. She asked as if I might know why my sister was getting fat. Not being so, I answered no to that. It was there I learned where babies come from. Following that lesson came proof. A few months later, Pauline delivered her baby. The whole family was elated. A boy it was when seen, the name given, Dale Eugene. Satisfaction was exclaimed. My further study revealed what happens all around, all the time, is known as reproduction. For this young farm boy, a lot it did explain. Now I understand, when pens well bedded with hay, at certain times upon command, no longer need I stay out of the pig shed or the barn. Reproduction, a remarkable event, involves plants and animals, even fowl. Some are wild, you hear them howl. Chickens, ducks, birds and bees, flowers and crops, as well as trees. Results are glorious. Playful puppies, cuddly kittens, squealing piggies, and fluffy chirping baby chickens. My education started on the back porch doorstep that day my sweet and pregnant fat sister left for home. When mother was through, was then I knew she traveled not alone. Bernie. Sound. What to name a child? What's in a name? I came up with, a name is just a sound. As the child grows, it learns that when this certain sound enters its brain, that means them. Stop and think. When I'm telling you about a daughter, I identify which one it is by making a sound that identifies her. When I make this sound, Lynn, you know of whom I speak, and if she hears that sound, she knows it is her I'm talking about. As society grows larger and you tell me about your daughter, to clarify, you made her the owner of a different sound. Just think how it can go. Lynn, Kaylin, Shaylin, Lynette, Lynetta. Each has its own little sound on the end. Sue, Susie, Susan, etc. We are creatures that communicate with sound. I think back to the caveman and imagine him grunting. Probably each grunt had a different emphasis, repeat, or rhythm, but just a sound. So how far have we come? Hieroglyphics found in caves had signs which probably meant things just like we do. A symbol we call a letter means make this sound. When I, as a child, was learning to read, they would say, sound it out, meaning this letter sounds this way. That was learning my language. Chinese and Japanese, I'm sure, do the same thing. They just have different marks to show each sound they make. Sue, then Susie, would need an extra swirl on the end or somewhere to show a different sound. We even learned the difference in the sound of a voice from different people when they speak. A certain resonance you hear, and without seeing them, you know who that sound belongs to. Enjoyment and emotion is derived from sound through music. It is just sound, different pitches, rhythms, timing, and volume. Music has a written language all its own. Different symbols and marks are used to indicate a pitch, sound, a speed, a soft volume, or a loud crescendo to create anything from a waltz to a great symphony. So, what is in a name? As a remembrance or an honor to grandma or an ancestor, we may decide we will use the sound for our child and simply put an extra swirl on the end, or a new sound in front. After all, it's just a sound. Bernie. This is one of my fiction stories, Splatter Painting. An established artist felt she needed more than realistic landscapes, decided to open a new door, maybe try splatter painting. Laid her canvas on the floor and splattered away. It turned out totally abstract, with no focal point, nothing realistic at all. Surely the wrong track. Felt it was worthless. The two children came running through the kitchen, one going each side. They were followed by the family dog Buster. He went straight across, the droplets recently tossed. Now, seen in the painting, a couple noticeable shapes. Paw prints, very recognizable. Forget about scapes. Now, cherished by the family, loved by all, it hung on the wall. Everyone understood it was Buster who made the painting good. The children grew up, the parents grew old. In the home was tension untold. Family fun lost its luster. Unspoken hung the question, who would get the painting by Buster? Bernie.